Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another animation reaction and breakdown. I know it's been a hot minute since I've been in the Honkai animation scene, and I apologize for that. Lots of things getting in the way. But between this one and another one, I'll have two within this next week. So I'm trying to make it up to you a little bit by doubling down. Without further ado, let's get into the reaction portion of Bronya, shall we? Let's go. Whew. Wasn't ready for that frame rate, to be honest. Kind of jarring. There's a lot of cool movement in this sequence, but honestly, the frame rate's kind of killing it, and not in a good way. Like, there are things I can talk about already, but I'm kind of bummed that the frame rate is so low on it. I understand why, of course, but kind of wish there was a little bit more, you know? It's hard to see things in proper motion with frame rates this low in CG. Oh, oh, that's sick. Woo. Whose child is this? I... Well, like I said, it's kind of unfortunate about the frame rate because there are definitely things that would have looked better if that was a little bit more tightened down. But I get the limitation. Regardless, there are things that I can talk about and break down a little bit in detail here, so let's get right over to that, shall we? Alright, so first things first, I just wanted to showcase this opening sequence here. It's not too long or anything, just the shot of the pan rolling up to the facility here. Very good on atmosphere, having the fog and snow kind of blustering at the character and at the camera. The red light, of course, being a menacing color for the standard of bad guy equals red. It just works really well in the color scheme, everything else being so muted, the contrast of blue and red, artistically very on point, very clean. Up next, I think these muzzle flashes at the end of the gun are very well done. The lighting and everything is fantastic. Everything is lighting up exactly as you would expect, with the lighting getting brighter and reducing on the guns especially. Just a lot of attention to detail on that front to make these very responsive to having the light on them. I like the way that they did that. I think it looks very clean and very accurate to how it would be in real life even. Although, as a disclaimer for those who might be a little snobbish about guns, yes, muzzle flares aren't nearly as common as they are in film. It's just a way to make things feel a little bit more visually exciting. It's very common in action projects, so just let it slide. We all know it happens, all right? There's no secret at this point. Immediately up next is this shot here of the character Bronya running up at those guards extremely fast. I like that the camera shake starts before she even gets by the camera, just to anticipate that extra energy being sent towards the camera, really emphasizing how fast she's going, and the fact that she goes so fast in a matter of, what, 2 frames here? That's ridiculous. That is so fast. All of the smoke effects are worth talking about here, but I really wanted to mention this spot here where she kicks the gun out of the guy's hand, she does this little spin, and this effects animation on the ground where this is swirling under her. There's a spiral of smoke and dust and debris that is happening on the floor, and that's another great attention to detail. Her arm is kind of wrapped up in it, just very clean, very well attended to. You can tell that they care about their effects animation. I talk about it a lot on these videos for every good reason. They really do pay attention to things like that and put physics in there, and I respect it. Another beautiful use of effects animation here, this multi-layered muzzle flare here. Absolutely cartoonishly huge, of course, but between the initial shot and then this puff of smoke with all of that flame happening, it's just got so much energy and so much character. It really makes this shot sell itself in power and just fun, frankly. It's really enjoyable to just see that muzzle flare, and it makes it very clear what it's doing. Again, in this following sequence, we got plenty of that beautiful smoke work, plenty of this beautiful line smear work. These speed lines I don't see as commonly, especially in Honkai animations. I don't think I've really stumbled across them more than once in a prior project of theirs, and they're just so useful. Speed lines, especially in anime-esque visuals, really do sell speed. That's the reason they're called speed lines. And they're just used so tactfully in this moment where, of course, she's using plenty of speed, as we saw earlier. I also love the attention to detail here. I almost went right by it, where they have the muzzle flare on her face, reflecting that extra light on her body. That is very good attention to detail yet again. This little bit here is also really fun, how she moves out of the way of this bullet, but as it travels past her, the light follows it past her head. You see it wrap around the back of her head onto her hair. That's, again, brilliant attention to detail. They could have just highlighted the side of her face for one frame and called it a day, but they decided to put that extra bit of effort in, and I noticed it, and I respect you for it, animation team. Brilliant work. This motion was entirely lost due to the lower frame rate, as I had mentioned. Some motions like this really do need more frames to make them mentally understood for the average person. And while it is a brilliant movement here, the grab by the thighs and the flick, it's a classic martial arts thing. I love the way it looks. It always feels good in a proper choreography. It's just brilliant to watch. Unfortunately, hindered a little bit by the frame rate, and I really wish that they did have more to show there, because it would have made the whole movement a little bit cleaner. It's moments like this that really make it hard to sell movements like this with low frame rates, because she flips, she like slams the guy into the ground, and immediately gets both hands to the floor to spring back to where she was. And honestly, physics, I have to pick on it, they don't work like that. And even if you are an extremely skilled assassin, even if you were to try and avoid the conversation of physics, because this is not our world, physics in a context as a whole are based on our knowledge of physics, and breaking those can make things extremely difficult to sell in animation. So even if you want to break physics a little bit, you have to be able to do stuff that is at least within the realm of possibility to look good. Even if it is exaggerated, even if it's not something that an average person can do, it still needs to follow our general laws of understanding how movement works. This doesn't do that, and as such kind of ruins the movement, having her land and spring up while coming out of a spin. That's a bit too far to really forgive it on an animation standpoint. I do love this little moment here where she kind of comes in a ball of smoke and then just does this sick pose, dude. Just a sick pose. The camera following around her to get her to look forward again, to get the whole movement happening in that one direction, is a great directorial choice. Very quick. It kind of felt like she was spinning. That was a good decision. I just wanted to point out the stick pose. Just superhero pose, dude. So good. This is another set of shots here where she's just standing there and the lights are wrapping around her. This is kind of more the cheating I was expecting, where they would just do one frame of it on her side and just have it go past her. But even then, this frame here, you see this light still there. It's still the light of this bullet trace down here. And it's just that the extra little details. They could have completely avoided doing that, but it probably looked better, and it does look better with it there. I also love this knife throw here and how it gets close. It's got that little sheen on it, that sparkle. That's just a really fun detail. Again, something that goes by so fast, most people wouldn't even see it in motion, but it feels so good. And then she follows in immediately with the smoke burst behind her to again sell the speed. They really do that a lot in this, and I assume that this is the character's special ability or some degree of that thing going on is a super speed ability, because she is insanely quick. And of course, I've got to talk about this little shot here where she takes, twists, flips, and chucks this guy, and all of the light traces coming off of his little visor here. Just a good detail. Like, of course they were going to add it here. This is something where that extra detail is required due to the slow motion. You have to add a little bit more flair in order to sell the motions like that. But this is just a great, great visual pull. I also really respect this shot. Again, with the environment, this CG was done extremely well. And of course, I love this little bit of smoky energy going into the center here, blowing all of this debris around. Very visually interesting, really gets everything to build up that kinetic energy. Right now, it is just potential energy. And of course, this character at her core, just shedding energy, just has so much going on around her, from this ball of smoke around her, these little flicks of various smoke and debris being thrown everywhere, the rocks floating, the smoke around. All of this is just immense pressure being built up, and visually is being presented by all of this around itself and each other all at once. It is so much to take in, but oh so worth it for what happens right afterward. This entire sequence here is absolutely killer. The effects animation around the sides to get this digitized ball around her, just again, energy, so much energy. All the electricity happening right now too. It's just all of this going up her leg, all of this energy being condensed into this one precise spot that she's about to unleash upon this entire army. And of course, just like in the video when I reacted to it, this little sequence of her going through the shield is just sick. There's nothing really to talk about animation-wise that's new here. I've already talked about all the flares, the grid and everything, the electrical spurs coming out of everywhere, and her being able to go through solid matter is just sick. But of course, it would not be one of my videos if I didn't mention and show off the insane grouping of impact frames right here. This is top tier. Are you kidding me with this? This is Mob Psycho 100 levels of impact frames. These are nuts. It goes black and white. You see all of this shedding, all of this energy being spent on this one shot here, all of this fragmentation visually. It gives it color back with chromatic aberration. That's just so neat to look at. It's delicious to stare at. And then all of this energy here being spread into all these threads, these individual lines of condensed energy of what we just saw, more chromatic aberrations separating all of the colors, more detail on the character being given back and taken away shot after shot, just little details all the way through until it just blows to white. There was so much detail in just those couple of frames, and they looked so good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you all so very much for watching. If you want to see more of these, more will be coming. One will be coming very soon. And if you want to support me and follow me, you know how to do all that. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!